Alright, this is Justin Pop's Student Podcast, and today our topic is going to be about the Snapchat streak. I'm sure everyone is very familiar with the concept of the Snapchat streak from the app Snapchat. It has become a very popular app in the past couple of years, and the big thing with Snapchat is the concept of the streak. Now, the streak is a consecutive day snapping between two people, and it keeps on increasing every day, and it's one of those things that just kind of there to remind you to continue to be addicted to this app. We will get back to that kind of mindset a little later on in this, but we're going to start with a personal story. So recently, because I myself have Snapchat, I have a couple snaps going, and recently one of my long-running Snapchats streaks of about 540, so about a year and a half, ended, and it's one of those things where you feel that, it's kind of like a relationship where you put in the effort and it just kind of just goes away just like that. So with Snapchat, we get into these kinds of moods where it's one of these things of necessity. So one of the main questions, it's a two-parter, is what kind of social psychology goes into Snapchat streaks, and what are the cultural implications therein? Snapchat is a lot more popular with teenagers and young adults as opposed to older people. So with this kind of generation of young adults moving upward, where does this take us? So that's the really big question. This is different from Facebook or Instagram or any of the other social media sites where you can continually get likes or follows or retweets of stuff that might be a couple months old. But with Snapchat, it's the sense of urgency. So that's the main question of this kind of thing. So looking from a social psychology standpoint, there's kind of a fine line between the pros and the cons. In one of the articles titled "Teens Are Obsessed with Snap Streaks," it seemed relatively positive. You have to work for them, they're basically a relationship, but you feel a sense of accomplishment by keeping these. But on the flip side, it can become addictive and it can start to feel like a business transaction. That these friendships that we have are only validated through the giant number and a little flame emoji next to it. What that could do with a lot of relationships is start to take them from the deep and meaningful ones into just keeping something going just for the sake of keeping it going. By looking at part two with the question with the cultural implications, one implication that I found while reading another article titled "Teens Explain the World of Snapchat, Addictive Streaks, Where Friendships Live or Die." It's very dramatic. It stated that it forces you to, one of the people interviewed stated that it forces you to be on your phone all day and doesn't let you stay away from it for any prolonged period of time. I know a lot of people who, for various reasons, take a hiatus from any social media, and it's good. It's been shown to improve one's quality because social media just kind of bludgeons you with everything. Snapchat, in its design, is designed to become addictive and not let you go 24 hours without seeing your phone, because people put so much importance into these Snapchat streaks. When I would go, personally, when I would see the little like hourglass figure saying that the snap was about to end, I didn't really care personally because it seems to me kind of more frivolous. But for some, they would just get very involved and desperate almost with the thought of losing these kinds of streaks. They're very superficial and just pointless, but our culture, especially with social media and being up to date and involved with everything, has forced us into thinking that these kinds of things are extremely important. So to wrap this up, there are positives and negatives. We listed the negatives with the addictions, feeling like a business transaction forces you to be on your phone, but there are positives. It ensures that people communicate and keep in communication with each other, people that live across the state, across the country, across the globe. For me personally, there are a couple people that I keep streaks with that live far away, that they're from college, but they live in other parts of the state and in the world, and I find it to be a good way to make sure that I'm still talking to them, even if it is just a picture of the ground. It means that I'm still in contact with them. And especially in this global network kind of world that we live in, it's important that we keep these kinds of relationships. But the flip side of that is the feeling of you're just keeping in contact just to keep this thing going. But for someone like me who has these relationships around the world, even though it seems relatively superficial, I still know that I'm still in contact with these people. And I think that's what the Snapchat streak does in a positive way, is keeping these kinds of relationships alive. So where do we go from here? Where do we go with this Snapchat streak culture? Do we keep it going? Or do we kind of let it fizzle out and essentially lose our streaks? I personally don't see an end to this anytime soon. In actuality, I feel like it's going to get a little more bigger in a sense. Snapchat as an application has begun to really get popular, although their updates aren't. But it's a good social app in which to keep these relationships going. With Instagram, you don't have to post every day. In Facebook, you don't have to post every day. In Twitter, you don't have to go on every day. But with Snapchat and these streaks, you get to see your friends still there, see their stories come up, see the streaks there, and keeping them going allows you to see everyone else and stay social in this blossoming social media world. And there's also, from the Teens Are Obsessed with Snap Streaks article, one of the people interviewed was cited to saying it's a way to get closer to friends because you are in contact with them all this time. So social media is a very double-edged sword in that way, but it can be positive, it can be negative. You just have to make sure that you don't let the negative, addictive, superficial means take over the positive. Everything in moderation, and that will make sure that your relationships stay lively, intimate, and meaningful. This is my podcast, and I hope to see you guys next time.